Hello again, Michael. Thanks so much for joining us today for Thursday Thoughts at 3. We're going to do a little bit of coffee talk, if you will, and talk about a lot of really important things that we as pastoral musicians may or may not spend enough time on right now. So it looks like, we are just going to plow forward here, Michael. It's still acting a little funky, but let's just move forward. And if needed, I can always record this. It is recording, and I can always put it up later. So let's just keep moving, and then we'll figure it out later. Okay. So Michael, let's talk a little bit about catechesis and formation. So of course, playing off and thinking deeply about your mega breakout, for example, at the convention, NPM's virtual convention this year. You focused so much on formation leading to active participation. Now, I'll be honest, I tend to hear a statement like that and I think to myself, that's great for those in the pews. But really though, why is formation so important continuing for us as pastoral musicians? Why can't we just stop taking classes? Like, when do we hit a threshold that we've learned enough?
Yeah, of course, because Amanda, we all know that anytime we enter into any educational or formational experience, I think we are shocked at how much we learn we don't know. And when we just learn that we want to know more, we dive deeper. But I think also, Amanda, the world changes, our parish changes, we change. Our understanding of Paschal mystery is a lifelong experience. That's nothing you could ever really know. But then also how we apply the Paschal mystery to our celebration of the liturgy. The scripture readings, yeah, we hear them every 3 years, but we're in totally different places. So to answer your question, for us as leaders, if we're going to help others dive deeper into these sacred mysteries, we constantly have to be willing to do that ourselves as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. So, okay, so being a perpetual learner, it's something that we as pastoral musicians and just people in the church must continue to do. Do you see any silver lining right now in COVID-19 time and in formation? Is there anything right now that maybe we need to be taking advantage of, just as pastoral musicians and continued leaders and learners?
Yeah, we were having a good conversation last night with the NPM chapter from Jefferson City in Missouri, and we were having a great conversation of music ministry, liturgical ministry, even our conversation at LTP yesterday, Amanda, that has a different face right now. That if you are responsible, it doesn't matter if you are on staff, a volunteer, I don't believe in those things really anyway. Liturgical ministry, I think, has to include formation right now. Because I don't know about you, but I know more than 3/4 of my parish is not coming to Mass on Sunday. How are they being fed? And if they're not being able to be fed truly by the Eucharist, yeah, and sure, even celebrating the Word online. But now's, I think, the opportunity for us to sit back and assess what is liturgy, what is its role in our parish life, and what are we willing as a community to do with all of that information? And how does that affect our choices, especially when we come out of all of this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think too, if you don't mind, let's just kind of talk about something that came up in LTP's session that I helped out on yesterday. And that was, how is the face of church changing right now? Or how, has this changed the way we see church? That was something that we talked up quite a bit right now. And I really do think that right now there is something to be said about forming others so that during this time we help our parishioners learn about why they attend the Mass, why we do what we do, taking this moment as a time of catechesis, but also helping us realize that right now our ministerial outreach needs formation and needs re-education for ourselves, both digitally, so that we can also touch base with those who, like you said, are 25% of people, at least like you, my church are coming, 75% are not. We have to right now re-educate ourselves, not only in how to reach out to them, but how to help them grasp concepts to help them realize why we're doing what we're doing.
Sure, absolutely. And there's two things that I think we could bring up right here. One thing that we had in our conversation yesterday was bringing up that quote from Sing to the Lord that said, pastoral musicians are first of all disciples. Take that and also move that along the side with what our popes have been saying, at least for decades, that we first must be evangelized before we are going to do that outside. So, and to others. And the reason I bring that up is because I think we use the word catechesis, I think we use the word education, and our mind goes to something that it, sorry to say, was probably never designed to be. It was never designed to be classroom life. And that's why liturgical catechesis is so wonderfully powerful. How is the liturgy and the church's rites echoing our faith, evangelizing us? In a way, I feel like, and I brought this up in my mega about assessing sacramental celebrations, is that we've often tied catechesis to, sorry for saying this, a sacramental prize. Do this classroom stuff and you'll get First Communion, and then you'll go for comfort. No, that's why when we look at those, and I know a lot of musicians are involved in Christian initiation, RCIA. People are profoundly changed when they accompany others who are approaching the waters of rebirth. Why? Because I think they're fully experiencing evangelization, which is contingent also on the liturgical life of the parish. The way we form disciples is through the liturgy. So knowing something about that. So I guess what I'm getting at, Amanda, too, is that we can't use this COVID time and apply the word catechesis as classroom time. No one wants to sit on a Zoom 60-minute session 6 weeks in a row or whatever. But it is an opportunity to break open further why we do what we do.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that's something too to remember right now, especially with Catechetical Sunday coming up. Catechetical Sunday is soon, right? I mean, isn't it? Is September 20th?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you even look at the theme for this year, I received from the Lord what I also handed on to you. And in a way, that goes with my plenum talk of like, we got to hand that light of Christ. We are entrusting others as well with that light of Christ and supporting people in their journey. So Catechetical Sunday, it's why I call catechists liturgical ministers, if you will, because they are hopefully echoing our faith from the Mass. And this is why I think liturgical ministers should be involved in catechesis. Musicians, we are singing our faith week after week. And if we can't do it now from the pulpit or the choir loft, then let's do it to the religious ed classes through Zoom, because we have a song that needs to be heard.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. Let's transition a little bit into a little more discussion about formation of self as pastoral musicians. So, of course, Michael, you work for LTP, and so you're very familiar with the Essentials of Catholic Liturgy. But for those who don't know what it is, what is it?
Yeah, it's that great time to just enter deeper into, again, why we do what we do. Practical but theological. Okay, Amanda, you were a music major, right?
It was.
Yes. What was your study area?
Okay, so my undergrad was in sacred music, specifically in organ performance.
Okay, great. So I had a lot of music friends in college, vocal performance and all this kind of stuff. And all I heard about was their agonizing of the piano proficiency test and that they had to constantly do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I look at Essentials and the work that LTP and MPM are doing together as a sort of piano proficiency for us.
Hmm.
If we are going to be the best pastoral musicians that we could be, why wouldn't we want to know more about how the rubrics reflect the theology of the rite? Session 2, track 2, we'll talk about this in a moment, but track 2 goes through all the sacramental rites. We break open how we celebrate the liturgy because of what the theology says. Or maybe I'm saying that backwards. The theology is reflected in the way we celebrate these rites. And that, and the whole ECL, Essentials of Catholic Liturgy course does, is help us dive deeper into that.
Hmm. Okay, so diving deeper, the Essentials of Catholic Liturgy has a couple of different tracks. Would you mind taking a couple minutes to break open those tracks, just like you started to do, and then just give us an idea of who should take each of these tracks?
Sure. I think this would be first and foremost great for anyone that we need to invite to step up. Um, First of all, I would say us, but I think we could all think of us getting a start, ourselves getting a start, because someone probably invited us into ministry. Someone invited us to be more and to be more for others. So, music directors, I would say, ideally, it's the one who never had the opportunity to study a liturgy class. Um, that awesome pianist, that awesome organist who didn't think about needing this. Right now, responsibilities in parishes are being shifted left and right, who's doing what. Um, I would say everyone on a liturgy committee, it would be ideal to have this. I even would love to see parish staff, the deacon, uh, on this. So, track 1 is the basics. It really is. It's spending a few sessions. Each one is a 6-week um, course, 90 minutes
Hmm.
each week. A few sessions on the Mass, going through and breaking open the parts, looking at the musical components of them, the liturgical year, all the different types of liturgical ministries, sacramentality, and of course, Paschal mystery. And then track 2, sacramental rites and other parish liturgies. So it's like, okay, I'm a musician, but I don't really know anything about weddings. Like, I know you play this song and I know I play that song. Well, no, this is going to help us go through the rite and realize that that instrumental canon in D is not the vision of the entrance rite. But what is? And where is canon in D appropriate? Funerals, First Communion. What do we do about exposition? So that, and then a whole session on Triduum. So that's track 2. And then track 3, I'm just super excited about. We're offering it for the first time this winter, starting in February. So probably the longest, coldest winter of our lives. But the topics really step it up a notch. I think these are the ones, those of us who have been in this 20, 30, 10 years, whatever, 5, liturgy in the modern world, evangelization, catechesis and mystagogy, liturgy and the connection to social justice. I love this one. Liturgy and the art of celebrating. How do we
Mm,
as a team of musician and presider and ministers look at that art of celebrating that Pope Benedict says leads to active participation, and then liturgical spirituality. So that's it. Those are the 3 courses, the 3 offerings that we have starting in September, November, and February.
in February, great. Does someone have to take all 3 in a row, or could I just take track 3 or something like that?
Yeah, you take what you want. Like, if you like, Amanda, we probably, maybe we do need to go to the basics and get a refresher on the Mass,
Hmm.
because it does offer little few light bulbs, but you don't need to go to track 1.
Hmm.
But if you don't know the material in track 1, track 3 is going to be a little bit harder, just because of its elevated level,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
But no, you could. But also, the thing is, right now we start in about 10 days or so. You could do all 3 tracks in the next few months, and you're all set.
Wow, and that's never been offered like that before, right? I mean, this, like you said, this is the first time that you're offering track 3.
Yep. Early
Yeah.
fall, late fall, and then winter.
Winter.
And
Yes.
you know what, Amanda? It's also a great Monday night community. You
Mm-hmm.
know, who knows even if we're going to have our Monday night football anymore? But what a great opportunity to gather, to see the same people week after week, check in with each other, and just learn about what we love doing. We have identified ourselves as liturgical pastoral musicians. It's just fun to get together and talk about that stuff.
Mm-hmm. I know. This isn't new to you, but I'm saying it partially just for our listeners. I said to Michael yesterday when I talked to him that LTP and Essentials of Catholic Liturgy were doing virtual gatherings before it was trendy, before COVID made it trendy.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. We've been working on this for 6, 7 years with all the virtual stuff, and for those of us who don't know, we use Adobe Connect. It is a
Mm-hmm.
lot different than Zoom and some of the others. Nothing wrong with those, but Amanda, I go back to Our Hearts Were Burning. It's the bishop's document on adult faith formation,
Mm-hmm.
and it talks about how adults need to be actively engaged. And perhaps some think we are too actively engaging folks in a 90-minute session. But I don't know about you, but if I have to sit at another 60-minute webinar flat, it's just my style, but let's keep it going, and then let's keep that learning throughout the week through
Mm-hmm.
videos and articles and also forums. We have an online forum. One of the best ways I saw it used was someone in the class said, "Hey everyone, this has nothing to do with class, but I have a quinceañera this weekend. I don't know what that is, and does anyone have music for it?" And there was like this 20 message back and forth about quinceañeras because of
Mm-hmm.
the community that was created in this class.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a gift of community also in an area where, let's be truthful. I mean, church ministry and church ministers are abundant and yet few. You
Mm.
know, there are a few people in my life that I can truly talk to about this and understand. I remember this is a small anecdote, but it's similar. Like I remember going to the NPM convention. I think it was 2 years ago, maybe it was 3 years ago, and I remember my icebreaker to everyone was, "Can you believe that Christmas Eve's on a Sunday this year?" Because I knew that pastoral ministers would understand how crazy that weekend was going to be, that we were going to have Advent 4 and then Christmas Eve that night. So it is so nice to have a group of people that you can, converse with and like have that safe space to ask those types of questions too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And this is meant to be an extension of our gatherings that we normally spend together in July.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that the safe zone that you feel, there is no question too big, too small. This is what we're here for. We're just here to build each other up so that we could go and do even better work back in our parishes.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Now, we have one more question for you too, Michael, but just in case you're watching on the live stream and you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box right now if you're watching live. And if you're not watching live, you can always reach out to Michael. And Michael, would you mind giving your email address if they have any follow-up?
Sure. It's just training@ltp.org.
Okay,
Training@ltp.org.
great. So if you have any live questions, you can ask them now, but if you're watching the replay, you can always email there. But our last question for you really is, and actually it's probably double, but so we've talked about, of course, the spiritual and mental and educational formation that this brings us, but I also am of the mindset that anything we can do to make ourselves a more savvy musician right now, especially like you said, where all of our jobs can be twisting and changing and our responsibilities are changing, is do you think there's any professional benefit to completing something like the Essentials of Catholic Liturgy? Do you see of any role that that could play?
Certainly. I mean, when we look at, if we are in a situation where we need to look for a new job or
Mhm.
just send in our resume to try to get a writing gig or whatever, being able to write down, you know, took 18 weeks with NPM and LTP, two reputable organizations, and say that I took the time to dive deeper and to study this. No one is ever going to say that's going to make you less marketable. It's only going to show not only do you know a little bit more, but you took the effort to go and to better your heart, mind, all of that. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I think so too. Okay, so you mentioned that track one is coming up. I'm going to direct this a little bit to those who are NPM members existing. Is there anything NPM members need to know about the start? First off, what's the registration deadline
Sure.
for anyone?
It starts on Monday the 14th. We
Okay.
recommend that you're signed up by Monday the 7th. But of course, if for some reason you get this last minute urge, we will take you
Okay.
up until the morning of the afternoon of the 14th.
Okay,
So you're
great.
good.
Okay, great. And is there any type of code or any type of promo going on for NPM members right now?
That is a wonderfully great idea. I think there was something in an old email, but if not,
I can
don't.
tell you actually. Well, I'm
Great.
asking partially because LTP posted on the live stream.
You are good.
So it says here, and you can clarify, but NPM members feel welcome to use the code C21ESS when you register for the Essentials of Catholic Liturgy by September 7th. So
Wonderful.
C21ESS. It's in the
Great.
chat. Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Okay. Is there anything else that to close up this Thursday thoughts? Anything else you'd like to say or share?
And I think when we look at ECL and that time, we've made a commitment that when we're choosing presenters to work with NPM, and if at all possible, to have NPM members also be the teachers and presenters, and because it's a family journey, it's us doing this together. But I do want to say I even hesitate using class or course because I do want to see this as a true catechetical and echoing of our faith through the work that we do. So I invite you sincerely. I really do not think you are going to be regret spending time with fellow NPM members. So hope to see you there.
Good. Thanks for your work on this too, Michael. NPM is really glad to partner with LTP, with the Essentials of Catholic Liturgy. I mean,
Yeah,
it truly is a feather in LTP's cap in my mind, because I think it's something that's so needed and is so craved and can just help us, like you said, echo our faith. So
yeah.
thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. And just this last moment, Timothy Johnston is the editor at LTP who does spearhead it all, and he has masterfully put 3 classes together with the resources. We even had a new book published just for the 3rd course. So kudos to him and to the partnership between LTP and MPM.
Cool. Kudos. And to wrap it up too, I want to mention that promo code that I mentioned before is 25% off registration. So excellent promo code if you're an NPM member. So another benefit. Well, thanks so much for watching Thursday Thoughts at 3. We invite you to learn more about the Essentials of Catholic Liturgy, and we invite you to join us next week. Next Thursday Thoughts at 3 will be a cymbal demonstration from Malmark. So she will be demonstrating cymbals, which is a freestanding handbell row and octave where you can actually provide solo bell music right now safely during COVID-19. So that's next week. Thanks again to Michael, and take care, everyone. We look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.